Hello, I'm Jessa Flores from Filipino 1B. Today, I'm going to tackle the introduction of historical development of art. So, do you found art? Do you know where those came from? And what is the art did you know? This is some question about historical development of art. And this topic will tour you to find or to know the different history of arts around the globe. The historical development of art from prehistoric to the 21st century. Human history of Ain began about 10,000 BC, and the earliest evidence of tool is making was 2 million years ago and improved during the Paleolithic period, about 40,000 to 8,000 BC. And according to Anderson, 1995, the art helped explain meaning, the truth, spirit, social, values, religion, and other foundation of human culture. And in early history, the arts not viewed as separate to discipline such as a dance, painting, and also a music. And now, looking forward, the objectives of historical development of art. First, identify aesthetic beauty of major period of arts around the globe. So you need to identify the aesthetic beauty. Second, differentiate the different major period of art. So you need to recognize the different period of art. Third, list different famous art around the globe. And the fourth, develop and create exceptional art based on the major of art. So you need to develop and create the not typical art or exceptional art. And the last one, analyze the impact of history of arts in our arts today. So you need to know the impact of your art. And that's all, the introduction of historical development of art. I hope you learned our discussion. Thank you and have a nice day.
Paleolithic art, 40,000 to 8,000 BCE. It consists of realistic images of large animals, most of which are known from fossil evidence to have lived in the area. They are the example. Art from the Paleolithic include cave painting, such as at Chauvet, Altamira, and Pechmerl, and Mesolithic art or Middle Stone Age, 40,000 to 8,000 BCE. This was a period when humans developed new techniques of stone working. Example of Mesolithic cave painting is surely the Argentinian Cueva de las Manos or Cave of Hands in the valley of Pinturas River. And the last is Neolithic art or New Stone Age, 8,000 to 1,500 BCE. Along with development in agriculture, this period was also marked by the use of refined weapons and tools. Example of Neolithic art, Stonehenge in England, created between 2000 to 3000 BC.
I am Karen Claire Ascanio from BS Edphil 1B. Egyptian art. The Egyptians were interested mainly in architecture and sculpture. Many of their paintings, particularly those that decorated their tombs, they gave drawing precedence over color. Much Egyptian painting, therefore, was done for the sake of the dead. So itong mga Egyptians po na ito ay mahilig po sila interesado po sila sa architecture and sculpture. So, example na lang po ng architecture ng Egypt is yung mga palace, templo, pyramids, Maski po yung tombs o yung mga libingan ng mga namamatay sa kanila, sila na rin po yung nagde-decorate nun. Next is the Greek art. The art of the ancient Greeks and Roman is called classic art. So, pag sinabi natin classic art, ito yung mga gawa na galing sa Greek and Roman. So, kasi pag naririnig natin yung word na Greek or yan, Greek mythology, pag napag-aaralan po yan, naiisip agad natin yung mga ano nila eh, mga gods, goddesses, like Zeus, Aphrodite, yan. Next one is the Roman art. Known for their architecture and engineering rather than art such as painting, pottery, and sculpture. Strong desire for realism. So, yung mga Romans naman po is nakafocus naman sila sa sculptures. Romans were interested in conveying the ideal realism through natural-looking portraitures. So, sa kanila naman po, sculptures para mas mukhang makatotohanan talaga.
Our next period of art is Asian art, which is happened in the year of 653 BC to 1900s AD. It is Chinese, Japanese, and Indian. Oldest and continuous kind of art, which is traditional. It is a kind of painting, sculpture, pottery, and decorative arts. So when we say Asian art, it is a ceramic factories showed wealth and power of emperors that they still have today. Asian art is serene, meditative art, and nature. Asian art is has ink on silk or paper. So, the example of Asian art is terracotta, soldiers, and ancient temple. So when we say Asian art, they expresses their art through traditional traditional being. So next one is Christian and medieval art, which happened in the year of 313 to 1420 AD. The themes were about soul, not the beauty of the body of Greeks and Romans. Art was symbolic, more on Christianity. Earliest Christian art, earliest Christian art found are in catacombs. The mosaics are reflective. So when it comes to Christian and medieval art, it doesn't need the beauty of the Greeks. So mas mahalaga po sa kanila ang Christianity. Mas mahalaga po sa kanila ang Christian art kaysa po sa mga unlike Greeks and Roman arts. Pero patungkol po sa beauty ng kanilang God. So the example of it is the Wilton diptych. The small private Wilton diptych for Richard II of England. So next period of art naman is Byzantine, which is the Eastern Rome, more abstract and symbolic than Roman art. Long, narrow, solemn faces, bodies face front. Religion, icon image of Jesus Christ. Dedication of Constantinople, capital city ruled by Constantine. So, when we say Byzantine, more on abstract and symbolic. So, makikita nyo po minsan may icon po siya na image of Jesus Christ. So, yun po. The example of this is King David plays the harp in the 10th century Paris Psalter, a classicizing work of the Macedonian period. So, that's all my report. Thank you po for listening.
Hi, I'm Leisel Salas. I'm going to discuss the Islamic, Middle Age, and Gothic art. and Renaissance art. Let me discuss Islamic art. Islamic art is often characterized by recurrent motifs, such as the use of geometric floral or vegetal designs in a repetition known as the arabesque. The arabesque in Islamic art is often used to symbolize the transcendent, indivisible, and infinite nature of God. Artwork seen from the Kamsa of Nizami, Persia. Middle Age and Gothic art, 500 to 1400 years, also known as the Dark Age, decrease in prosperity, stability, and population. Art was associated with churches because it was costly, so almost all art was religious. Gothic art, brighter color, sculptures, realism, naturalism, 3D realism. Artwork, the Western Royal Portal at Chartres Cathedral Maestra. Renaissance art, 1400 to 1550 years. Revert, the quest for precision and greater realism, culminated in the superb balance and harmony. Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Naturalism, 3D realism, anatomy, and human emotion. Mona Lisa painting by Leonardo da Vinci, La Pieta by Michelangelo, The Sistine Madonna by Raphael. This is my part of our report.
Baroque actually means oddly shaped pearl. The Renaissance followed the traditional structures, while the Baroque changed all the traditional things like the shape of the building they built. Baroque used ovals and modified crosses. Baroque art's work or inspiration are usually about religion. There are also four distinct characteristics of Baroque: the light, the time, the realism, the naturalism, also known as illumination, are famous in the Baroque era, making each design and building like a sculpture. They combine small and large curves and also counter curves. This is known as undulating order. They use all types of columns like Doric, Ionic, Corinthian, and composite. They also have what you call the colossal order, the column which runs through two or more levels of the building. The Baroque period derived from the Portuguese barroco, or oldly shaped pearl. The term Baroque has been widely used since the 19th century to describe the period in Western European art music from about 1600 to 1750. And I will show you the music from the Baroque period. Neoclassical painting, Jacques-Louis David, an influential French painter in the neoclassical style and considered to be the preeminent painter of the era. Neoclassicism, renewed interest in classical Greece and Rome, focus on beauty and high moral qualities, played a role Europe from 1760s to 1820s. The famous artwork, The Death of Marat. This is the painting of the murdered French revolutionary leader Jean-Paul Marat. Neoclassical sculpture, Antonio Canova, a prolific Italian artist and sculptor who became famous for his marble sculptures that delicately rendered nude flesh. Famous artwork, Washington. This is a marble sculpture of Washington currently displayed at North Carolina Museum of History. Physical architecture, temple style, based on an ancient temple. Next is Romanticism. It is a movement in which the artists of neoclassical period sought to break new ground in the expression of emotion, both subtle and stormy. The famous artwork, The Wrath of the Medusa, portraits the victims of a contemporary shipwreck. The characteristic of neoclassicism and Romanticism. Neoclassicism, portrayal of Roman history, formal composition, the use of diagonals to show the peak of an emotion or moment, local color, overall lighting, classic geostructure, and the Romanticism that shows the height of action, emotional streams, celebrated nature as out of control, dramatic composition, heightened sensation. What is the Realism? It is known as the first modern movement in art. Realist painter changed the unwavering image and literacy vanities of traditional art with real-life events for the reason. Working in a chaotic era which manifested the revolt and extensive social change.
Hello everyone. Let's go to the next art periods or movement. 19th century art, Impressionism 1865 to 1885. It began in Paris by a group of artists. Name comes from Monet's painting Impression Sunrise. Studio painting in itself was unnatural to them when the real world was out there. So it was there that they painted, outside, seeking to capture the fleeting effects of the light and to give the real impression of a passing moment. So, uh, on this period, on this time, uh, nakilala po yung Sunrise na painting ni Claudette Monet. So, ito po yan, yung nasa picture. Yan po. Kung makikita nyo, pininta po siya dahil sa kanyang pagbibigyan ng liwanag. So, to give the real impression of a passing moment, Claudette Monet painted the sunrise. So, makikita nyo kung na 19th century pa lang po, may mga artist na po talaga tayo. Kahit nung mga panahon na panahon ng Neolithic, mga sinaunang panahon, we have art. So, 19th century art, Impressionism, ay nagsimula sa Paris by group of artists. So, huwag nyo pong kakalimutan na Ito po ay nanggaling sa painting ni Claudette Monet na Impression Sunrise or Sunrise. So, next period naman po tayo, Post-Impressionism, 1885 to 910 years ago. It continued Impressionist style but emphasized geometric forms, exaggerated an aspect of Impressionism, impasto, thick application of paint, shows of textures, and paint marks. One famous artist is Vincent van Gogh. So, si Vincent van Gogh, he painted the Starry Night. So, kung nakikita niyo po yung picture ng Starry Night, ayan po siya. Impressionism din po to, pero mas pinaganda. Parang mas binigyan buhay. Mas binigyan ng exaggeration of aspect of impressionism. So, ang example po nito ay Starry Night nga po ni Vince van Gogh na wag po sana natin kakalimutan. So, ito pong post-impressionism ay binubuo ng geometric forms. There's a thick application of paint. So, masasabi na natin na talagang mas madami na yung materials nito mga araw na to. Mas mas pinabongga nila yung 19th century art impressionism. Mas tinagdagan nila ng detalye. So, next period, Fauvism, 1900s to 1935. First movement of this modern, in which color rules supreme, while brush strokes, strong colors. So, kapag naman, when we say Fauvism, there's a word that ikinakabit doon sa Fauvism, which is the modern. So, dito na po applicable yung mga color rules supreme, wild brush strokes, strong colors. So, ang example po dito ay Woman with a Hat by Henry Matisse. Ito pong, kung nakikita niyo po, andyan po yan. Yan po yung binigyan na example as Fauvism, which is true dahil because of the color, because of the strong colors in the painting. So, next movement, next period naman po tayo. Thank you po. So, let's go to the next period, which is Expressionism. That happened in 1905 to 1920. So, it proclaimed innovative ideals in the creation, formation, and judgment of art. So, when we say Expressionism, this art was based from within the artist, and the standard for evaluating the excellence of a work of art became the characteristic of the artist. So, when it comes to Expressionism, the artist express her or his feelings through art. So, sinasalamin nito kung ano ang tunay nararamdaman ng isang artist. So, the example of it is The Scream by Edvard Munch, which express the scream and what he really feels. So, kayo po, ano po naisip nyo nung nakita nyo po yung picture, nung painting? Naramdaman nyo po ba yung sigaw nung nasa painting? So, That was expressionism too. Next one is cubism, 1907 to 1914. It started in the outcome of Pablo Picasso's shocking. This era is a rapid research and experimentation between Pablo Picasso and George Braque. This artist used numerous vantage themes to fracture imageries into geometric forms. It exhibits forms in an illusionistic space and portraits. So, um, cubism, from the word itself, cubism, parang pinagtagpi-tagpi siya, parang puzzle. Parang puzzle siya. Parang puzzle po siya. So, um, Cubism is an early 20th century avant-garde art movement that revolutionized European painting and sculpture. So, have you seen a Cubism painting? An example of it is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon or Guernica. So, uh, it composed of a woman. It composed of a woman with that painted by Pablo Picasso. So, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon portrays five nude female prostitutes in a brothel on Carrer d'Avignon, a street in Barcelona. So, Spanish artist Pablo Picasso uh, painted this because it is Pablo Picasso's mastery of cubism. So next period naman po tayo, Dadaism, 1915. Dada was the main ancestor to the conceptual art movement. The emphasis of the artist was not on making appealingly attractive objects. It produces tough interrogations about society. So when we say Dadaism, it is the main ancestor. Oh my god. So when we search what Dadaism mean in art, Dada, a movement in art and literature based on deliberate rationality and negation of traditional artistic values. Artists of the day who were influenced by contemporary European art movements like Dadaism and Futurism. So, when we say Dadaism, it is a movement with explicitly political overtones. The example of it is Fountain Marcel Duchamp. Kung nakikita niyo po sa ibaba yung picture, ganyan po ang Fountain Marcel Duchamp na ginawa po yan ni this is Fountain is ready-made sculpture by Marcel Duchamp. Yan, from the word Fountain Marcel Duchamp. Consisting of a porcelain urinal sign armut. So, para saan nga po ba itong bakit nga, why does Fountain considered art? So, Duchamp had the temerity to submit it to the exhibition of the Society of Independent Artists as work of art. Fountain is a so-called ready-made sculpture, meaning that that it is an ordinary manufactured object that the artist has simply selected and perhaps modified in some way. So, yon. Next, ano naman po tayo? Next period, Surrealism. Surrealism started in the year 1917 to 1950. Artists should avoid rationality, purpose, and motive in their works, and by regaining their unconscious and insensible observation. Automatisms permitted artists to decline conscious thought and hold chance when making art, suppress inner words of desire, sexuality, and violence, gave a hypothetical origin for much of surrealism. So when we say surrealism, what comes to your mind? Surrealism, uh, which sought to release the creative potential of the unconscious mind, for example, by the irrational juxtaposition of images. So, what is the main idea of surrealism? According to the major spokesman of the movement, the poet and critic André Breton, who published the Surrealist Manifesto in 1924, Surrealism was a means of reuniting conscious and unconscious realms of experience so completely that the world of dream and fantasy would be joined to the everyday rational world. So, when we say Surrealism, parang pinagsamang tawag dito, pinagsamang conscious and unconscious. So the example of it is the son of a man, Rene Magritte. So kung nakikita niyo po sa picture, the son. Kung nakikita niyo po sa picture, nakatayong lalaki na may apple, na may apple sa mukha. So, what is the meaning of The Son of Man by Rene Magritte? Though the imagery of a modern man and a floating apple near the sea doesn't immediately suggest religious iconography. The title Son of Man does. In the Christian faith, the phrase Son of Man refers to Jesus, so some analysts view Margaret's painting as a surrealist depiction of Jesus' transfiguration. So that's why some analysts tawag dito, analyze the painting that that it is a surrealist depiction of Jesus' transfiguration. That's why it become the example of surrealism. So that's for all today. Thank you for listening, everyone. So, hopefully you have understand what we had discussed, and thank you for listening. Have a good day.